But
Do you yourself need bodyguards to move around Karachi or Pakistan even?
well, again, there are times when I did have to have them. After my father was killed, for example, we had to have very strict security, and we couldn't be anywhere for more than 2 hours at a time, and we couldn't go anywhere without 2 hours notice. But then you realize also that that's not really the way, that's not living. So you don't do it, so you live. So no, I mean, I like to think I live fairly freely, but it does mean then that my movements are still sort of restricted and that safety is an issue.
You know, internationally, Pakistan has been called a doomed state. Yet you say, I can never leave Pakistan. What do you think its future is?
Well, I don't think it's a doomed state. And I think to call any state a doomed state after, 60 odd years, 64 years, is hysterical. I think what we can say is that the system has failed, that the political system has failed. But it's not a failed country at all, because Pakistan has tremendous potential. It's got the land on which it could grow the food to feed all its people, and even its neighbors if need be. But because of corruption, these things...
Because there are lots of coulds and lots of shoulds, but
But it's, again, we know what stops the coulds and the shoulds, and that's the system that has failed. That's the corrupt system. But Pakistan has enormous potential, and I think its people are passionate about the idea of a just country, of a country that is better.
Yet there's Talibanization more and more that we're seeing. Why aren't these people that you talk about, the average Pakistanis, they're not for it? So why aren't they standing up in abundance, and opposing it like the youth quakes that are happening all over the world?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I think, again, if we look at the Talibanization, it goes back to the corruption. When you've had a government or a state that for 30 years hasn't provided the most basic amenities to its people, it creates a vacuum for other people to fill. And those other people have been Islamic groups who, when there are no government schools or no government teachers, will come and set up a madrasa. And maybe it's your son's only chance. Why haven't there been youth quakes? I think this is a question a lot of Pakistanis are asking, because of course all the conditions exist, and they exist around the region, not just in Pakistan. I mean, if we're looking at the subcontinent, we all have the same conditions. Unemployment,
we are
inflation.
A functioning democracy, India is a functioning democracy, while I wouldn't say the same thing about Pakistan.
Well, it's curious. I mean, what makes a democracy? I think many things make a democracy, and some people will tell you that Pakistan is a democracy because they had elections. Other people will tell you that it depends on what kind of elections you have. But I think,
what would you say?
But I think, for me, I like what Tom Stoppard said, which is that democracy is not in the voting, it's in the counting of the votes.